Hey, Holly, it's Dave Stewart. What's it mean to have both teams in the state good at the same time? Does it make the rivalry more intense?
Yeah, it does. I think we're two, different teams this year, and we've obviously proved that. And it makes the rivalry definitely more intense, more fun. I think it has a little more tension this year, and so it'll be a really big game tomorrow.
You've got an advantage, it would seem, in experience with guards. They played three freshman starters the first time you played them. Is there some kind of an edge in terms of just having played more at this level when you meet them again tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, they have that experience a little bit now. They're pretty deep in conference games, and so but I do think maybe us older guards, we have maybe a little more advantage. We have, when you go through the second round of conference games, you have to prepare differently than when you played someone the first time. And so I think mentally we know how to do that. And as a team, we know kind of how to prepare better. So I would think that would be an advantage we have. Um, so yeah, that's something I think we should look forward to.
It's going to be a dominant match inside with Tiana and Ayoka Lee. She had 61 in a game. Tiana's been so good rebounding. How do you envision that going? I mean, it's going to be fun to watch that battle inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think she did well in her the first game. I think maybe she hasn't seen that type of defense. Tiana hasn't, and so I think she's more prepared for it because I thought she played really good defense on her. I think that was, I think maybe she had the most blocks on her in the Big 12 so far, which which is great. And I think we've been telling her that kind of as motivation for this week, like, hey, you were doing the right things. We just have things that we need to work on as a team. So, we keep trying to build her confidence and to, tell her, she has just as much in her as she does Ayoka or anyone else, being a center in this league. And so we know it's going to be a battle. We just got to be there for her. She's going to be really tired. She's just going to have to keep her head in it, not get in foul trouble. But that will be a really big competition inside tomorrow night, which will be fun.
Holly, when you look back at that last K-State game, you guys rallied late to make it really competitive. I think looking at my notes here, 2:50 left. You guys tied it at 57. You've been pretty good at closing out games really since. What do you remember about that one that went a little sideways for you?
Well, one thing I've noticed is that games that we have closed out well, we were already ahead. We had kept the lead, and I think mentally our head that game was in a different place just because we had to catch back up, which was something we haven't really had to do yet. I think that was one of the biggest leads the team had on us all season, and so it was just a different type of momentum in the fourth quarter, and one that we learned from. And so um, it was just a different game than I think we anticipated. And I, don't think we obviously plan on doing that tomorrow because, like you said, we have been finishing well, and that's something we need to do tomorrow night.
It takes a special mindset for a team to close out games. What is it about your resilience that you think really lends to the ability to do that lately?
Oh, our defense. We've taken, really, really good pride in our defense, and we know that, um, if we take pride in that end first, that the offense will come. But you can't plan to outscore your opponent in the fourth quarter. You have to defend first, and so we've just been doing that really, really well, and just getting stops, and we've been building on momentum from that.
You're 8 points shy of hitting 1,000. Does that milestone mean anything to you?
I mean, yeah, I think it would to anyone. I didn't even know I was that close to like a game or two ago. That is a big deal. It's something to celebrate. But that's not what I'm focused on tomorrow. Obviously, it's a lot bigger than that tomorrow. But it is something to be thankful for, because yeah, that is a big deal.
Holly, obviously, either way, like this is a massive game, big rivalry game, but just how much more exciting does it make it that both teams are coming in at kind of the peaks of their powers, both playing really well this year?
Yeah, I just think that makes it even more just exciting that both teams know like the type of success they're having, and the type of rivalry that it makes it, and it makes it more fun for the fans and for the players. It'll definitely be a game, tomorrow that I haven't experienced yet, meaning, just the type of anticipation it'll have. And I know even for some of their players, it'll be the same thing. We've both teams have been working really hard for a few years, and things are finally happening for both of us, which is good. And games like this, in a big conference, it's a big deal. It'll be really fun.
Hey, Holly, Brandon's talked a lot about, I'm sure he's talked with you guys about it too, but celebrating these little milestones along the way, whether it's the first time you beat somebody in 5 years or 10 years or a sweep of somebody, how has that impacted you guys in terms of your mindset, and are you enjoying celebrating those things, and what can that do for this team's sort of morale?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the important things right now. Right now you have to take things one game at a time. And, to take things one game at a time, you have to really focus on the little things. And so, and obviously our teams in the past, that's maybe not something we've always had. And so, as long as we keep building on these little victories that we have, these little ones keep building up to the big ones. And, with each one we have, each game, each away game, it's a lot of momentum for us, and we've learned to really appreciate it. And it's going to continue to be like that for us, because we've learned how to accomplish those.
What was the one thing you really wanted to be asked when we logged on and sat down?
What was one thing I wanted to be asked?
Yeah, you made some joke as you sat down about, they haven't asked that, I want to answer that or something. So give me the chance to say that.
The question was, what's the one thing that has made us successful finally, or what's one thing that's been different this year to, help us win? And I've been waiting for someone to ask me that all year. No one has, but it's not, one tiny secret little thing that people expect it to be. It's not one answer. And especially since, we're kind of the same team, we have a lot of the same players that have been here. Obviously we have a great center now who's been a huge piece of the puzzle. But I think it's just been a development of things over the years, meaning, we have more experienced people who, aren't just here, but wanted to stay here and get better and invest in the team that we have now. And a lot of the reason we've been successful this year, I think Brandon put it really well earlier, is we haven't looked in the rearview mirror at all. And I think that's a really good way to put it, and just how fearless we've been. We don't look at our opponent's ranking, or, how did we play them last year, or do they have the same people, or just things like that. I just think we've been really well at looking forward and just having more belief as a team, and it's just worked really well for us.
Well, when you look at that, you're sitting here talking to us, you're the leading scorer. This is you're the face of this renaissance in a certain way. Do you feel any of that? Do you acknowledge or understand what that might mean then as you try to build what this program wants to be?
I mean, I try not to look at it from like a number standpoint of, oh, I'm the leading scorer. I try to just look at it more as of, you're one of the ones who have been here longer. You're one of the ones who have made a mark, in the conference. And so instead of just trying to, make that about me and, oh, this is my team, I don't. I just try to, whatever, I try to accomplish, I want to bring them with me. And I think that was what I focused on this year. talked to a really good friend, and he made a comment about my conference award from last year, and he made a comment about my preseason award this year. And I told him, I was like, those are great. I appreciate them, but I want something for the team. I want to carry us higher. I'm not worried about that stuff anymore. And so it's great. It's something that like I'm really proud of, but I was ready for all of us to experience that. And so it's finally it's happening, and it's going really well.
So how's the success changed the energy and the atmosphere, the mood around the team going to practice? Do things seem elevated because the team has done so well?
Yes, in a sense, there are certain times when it definitely has its advantages. I mean, when we, used to have away games that, we would lose by 20 points, and that would be a rough ride home. And then, you have games like Wednesday when, even though you got home at 1 a.m., you still won by 20 points. So it makes those experiences better. There are some times where it was mentally challenging, physically challenging, but when you have those moments that, you can look back on and say you were successful, that makes them a little bit more worth it. And it always is, like a motivation in practice, coming off a big win, and even coming off, a big loss. You go to practice the next day and you still think like, we have every right to be here. We need to work even harder today. And so, yeah, it definitely has brought better moments and moments that we haven't had. So it's been a better energy.
All right, thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.